anything else.
We don't want to know!
We're dedicated, yes,
to our favorite shows!
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hippo Toes!
Scary Dog!
Pearson and Blurnsball!
Futurama!
Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich and Broadcasting Premier Podcast TV Party tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, our favorite shows are good old-fashioned wrestling. We're going to do a twofer for you tonight. We're going to review NXT 30 and SummerSlam 2020 in the Thunderdome. We don't need another hero. Thunderdome. Joining me tonight is one half of the Podsman. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Cosmic Treadmill, it's Chris Sheehan. How you doing, sir?
Hey, how are you? I think you made a movie reference there, and I almost got it.
It's only like 30, 40 years old. It's fine.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're getting there. Why don't you watch like movies and stuff? I would understand if it was just recent stuff because you're in school and you're trying to get your learn on. But like you say things like that, and it makes me think, hey, wait a minute. You don't ever watch movies. Why is that?
I can't sit still that long.
You got the ADD?
I think maybe a little bit of it. Yeah, I can't. Like, it's weird. I'll watch. Like, I can binge watch like 6 hours of The Office, but if you want me to watch a 90-minute movie, I can't do it.
Wow.
Very bizarre.
Very bizarre. Very bizarre. You're a hard man to figure out, Christian. That's all right.
Riddle wrapped in a Jeff Hardy wrapped in an Enigma or something.
All right. Let's get started. Did you watch the pregame match, the Breezango, Oni Lorcan,
I did.
Danny Burch? Okay. So they had a triple threat match to determine the number one contender for the NXT Tag Team Champions, which are Imperium at this time. And they had a match. Everyone seemed to hit their spots. It was less than 7 minutes. It was inoffensive. And the only problem I had with this was I thought that they were going to do Breezango versus Imperium on the main card. And I was like, oh, God, no. Please don't. I don't need this being any longer than it's already going to be.
I thought the same thing going into it because WWE will sometimes do that weird nebulous thing where it's like, for a future title shot, whenever we decide we've got 20 minutes to put a match in. It's
yeah.
I didn't know. I figured it's a pre-match or pre-show match that would pay off during the show, and I guess not. But I was happy with the outcome. It's nice seeing Breezango do something. They've kind of just been lingering. And it seems like every time they get a little bit of steam behind them, poor Fandango gets hurt. So they've had their knees cut out like 3 or 4 times during this weird, jumping back and forth between WWE and NXT run they've had.
What'd you think of the match?
I thought it was a good match, inoffensive, like you said. I like what's his face, Oni. I like him. I think he's pretty good. I thought. What is it? Who are they? The EOs de Mask Phantasmo, whatever they are.
Legado de Fantasma.
There they are. And one of them is DJ Zima. What the hell is his name? From Impact. DJ Iron. Is that one of him?
I don't know. Considering
DJ
how little
Zima
Impact
Ion or something. The one who injured. Oh, because I think he injured that one dude who went to war or something. But
I do
now
recall there being a DJ Zion.
Maybe it's
Keanu Reeves, The Matrix.
There he is. That's him. Yeah, I think he's one of them. But every time they said his name, I'd never seen him in NXT before. I kept being reminded of like that old Kool-Aid commercial because I guess his name is Wacky Wild. And I remember,
Wild. Yeah.
And I remember those old commercials where it was Wacky Wild Kool-Aid Smile. And every time they said it, I kept expecting someone to say Kool-Aid Smile afterwards, but they didn't.
It'd be really funny if, like, during this match, just the Kool-Aid man just ran in through the wall.
Why not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just give him a little glass of purple stuff. Have him down it before he does his weird jump off the top. That'd be great.
Our opening match for the main card was Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. I love Timothy Thatcher. I love his matches. I like when wrestling looks like wrestling.
Sure.
They did a 13.5-minute match that looked like wrestling, and Finn Balor defeated Timothy Thatcher, which was a little upsetting. I wanted Timothy Thatcher to pull it out, but Timothy Thatcher is a guy that's there, to put other people over, to make them look good. You know, he's kind of jobber to the stars. That's seeming to be where they're going with him. You know, or he'll get a big win over a guy that's about to leave, like Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
So Finn Balor.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Finn Balor is your star, and so he goes over. Love this match. What did you think?
I thought it was a really good match, but it came across as one of those matches where neither guy could afford to lose. Because Thatcher, he's still relatively new in this field here. Mm-hmm. He did the thing with Riddle, and now he's just his own thing, and he has his little asides during every week where he's doing like the Jeff Jarrett MMA enthusiast thing, where he's just like in like a basement beating people up or stretching them basically.
Yeah.
He
needs a run of NXT like wins.
Yeah, for sure. So it seemed like this was like a little too soon. I think he should just be squashing and stretching people right now. Mm-hmm. And then you build to the Balor thing, and then of course you're gonna have Balor win. But and have we established if Balor's a heel or a babyface yet?
Yeah, he's a tweener, and I think it like depends on who he's wrestling.
I think you're right. So that kind of softened it because you just don't know. I mean, the stakes were so weird, but at the same time, I wouldn't have been able to pick which one was going to win because you got Thatcher, who I felt was on the rise, and Balor, who really can't afford to lose. I guess they went the only way they could have, but I really did enjoy the match.
Yeah, I think they need to keep Balor strong because I think he's fighting Walter when NXT UK gets going again. He's always going to be floating near the top of the title, so they can't have him lose too many matches.
Yeah.
So it's fine. At this point, I'm kind of beyond who wins and loses. I just want to see good wrestling, and that was good wrestling. I like it. Like I said, I like it when wrestling looks like wrestling, and not a gymnastics floor routine. All right, next we had your car crash match of the evening. That was a 5-man, ladder match for the vacant North American Championship. It was Damian Priest, the man without a gimmick. I guess his gimmick is that he parties like a rock star. So, cool.
Yeah.
Bronson Reed, whose gimmick is that he's from New Zealand and he's fat.
That's true.
Cameron Grimes of The One True Knot. That's a reference to a movie you haven't seen.
Nope. Yep.
Johnny Gargano, or as Jim Cornette calls him, Mr. Faceless. And I didn't touch any of those children, Velveteen Dream.
Oh. I like that there's new blood in this, but unfortunately some of that new blood belongs to Bronson Reed, who has a shirt that proclaims him to be a thick boy.
Yeah.
THICCBOI. I'm never cheering for someone who wears a shirt that says thick boy. Sorry. Not going to do it. I like Grimes. But it seemed like this one was almost a foregone conclusion to me. I don't know why. As soon as I saw Priest come in with his click gear, it was just like, okay, he's got it. Like he even did like the walk under the ladder thing. He had the Shawn Michaels dangly vest. He's doing the Razor Ramon walk.
I was saying nobody walked under the ladder
except for Priest.
Oh, did Priest go? I thought.
Yep.
See, I was watching closely for that. I must have missed it.
Yeah, Priest did that, and then Gargano, I believe, came out next, and he looked like he was going to, and then he's like, "Nah, that's stupid," and he walked around it.
I mean, it's a ladder match,
Sure.
There were fun spots in it. These guys look like they murdered each other. I know I was listening to the Jim Cornette review of this, and he was not a fan of Johnny Gargano's girlfriend, wife, whatever she is, Candice LeRae.
Dollar Store Candice, yeah.
Yeah. Interfering in the match. I like the spot that she interfered in.
I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
I thought the way they set that up, and then her taking the ride on the splash, and then her kind of being done for the night, I was like, that all worked for me. I mean, if she got Johnny Gargano the title, I was okay with it. What they did, I was also okay with. I think back to like the triple ladder match where like Rhino and what's her face there, the redhead, Lita, yeah, Rhino, Lita, and whoever, and Spike, all ran out and like were trying to help everybody. Their teams win the match and everything. I don't mind stuff like that. as long as it's kept short.
Yeah, we don't want the locker room to empty out, but I mean, this made sense because they're building this whole weird Gargano family. I mean, we're getting segments almost every week of them eating dinner and just being very weird. I've got no problem with it. I thought she was very effective in what she did. I even the Hurricane Rana she did off the apron was probably the tightest move I've ever seen her pull off ever in her career. And then of course riding Bronson down to the mat. I thought that was an awesome looking spot. Gargano sold it like death. Bronson was crisp, and you couldn't fit like a hair between him and Gargano when he landed. It was really well done.
I honestly couldn't tell who was going to win this match. I figured it wasn't going to be Velveteen Dream given his recent history.
Unless they were just going to give us all a big FU.
But but the remaining 4 guys, it really was up for grabs. I couldn't see who they were anointing in this, and when Damian Priest won, and he's not my favorite guy, but some guys need a belt as their gimmick, and I think him with the North American title actually works because he's got nothing else going on in my eyes.
It's true. I don't know what his. I mean, you asked me a few shows ago, what is his gimmick, and I couldn't figure it out. But I guess we find out that he goes to the hot tub in the middle of the forest and and pours champagne on the random women that happen to be sitting there.
He parties like a rock star.
That's it. All
right.
I don't know if he's going to be taking ecstasy or whatever, but he's doing stuff.
Speaking of matches that look like wrestling, Adam Cole defeated Pat McAfee in 16 minutes and 12 seconds. Holy crap! Adam Cole wrestled as a face. Pat McAfee was a traditional heel, and they actually had a heel face match. And all thumbs up for Pat McAfee in this one. He did his job really well. They had a solid gold match, and I think because I'm starved for wrestling that looks like wrestling, that when I see it, I tend to want to inflate it more than it really is. And they had the reality is they had a decent match, but because it was of the variety that it was, of the variety that it was, I liked it that much more. So, what'd you think?
I thought I wanted so badly to hate this match because I hate Pat McAfee. I don't know Pat McAfee. I've only just looking at his face. He's got one of those faces made for a fist. That's
sure. I thought you just had a problem with the Indiana Colts or something. Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, is that who he played for?
He was a punter.
I proclaim myself to be a Jets fan, and the last Jet I can name is Mark Gastineau. So I am not a good. I couldn't tell you who plays where, but no, I wanted to hate this match. I wanted him to mess it up. I wanted him to just really stink the joint up, and he pulled off a really solid match. And he gave Adam Cole probably the best Adam Cole match in over a year because it wasn't finisher spam. It wasn't 2.9 counts for the last 10 minutes. It was just a babyface heel match where you felt like there were stakes. You felt like there was a reason to win, and he tried.
Yeah.
He didn't just I know we'll hear the Lawrence Taylor match with Bam Bam at 11. It's he treated this seriously and yada yada yada, and he did an okay match, But I think we were all just expecting it to be a dumpster fire.
He wrestled if you ever go back and watch the Bash at the Beach with Karl Malone,
Kevin Green. Oh yeah, Karl Malone.
Yeah, Karl Malone, Dennis Rodman, even the Kevin Green stuff. They all wrestle like what it was. This was their first time in the ring.
They do one hip toss, and that's about it.
Where Pat McAfee wrestled like a wrestler.
Oh, I mean, he did a senton off the top to the outside. He hit a drop kick. He was he wasn't Randy Orton smooth or anything, but he was doing the job. He was doing the work, and I thought this was just. Given all parts in this, I thought it was just an excellent match.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and I went in wanting it to suck so bad, just so I'd be like, get this guy off my TV. But now he could do it full time. he was pretty decent.
Io Shirai defeated Dakota Kai in almost 20 minutes for the NXT Women's Championship. They put on a great match.
Ran a little long.
Yeah, I mean, they probably could have shaved some time off of this, but overall, giving the girls their due, Dakota Kai and Io Shirai are probably the two best women wrestlers on the NXT roster right now, not named Rhea Ripley. And in all honesty, they put on a better match than anything Rhea Ripley's ever been in, maybe minus 100%. The Charlotte Flair match.
100%, yeah.
This was smooth. I thought there was great interference with Raquel Gonzalez, doing the Diesel thing. I just thought they put on a phenomenal job, and Io Shirai, keep the belt on her for a while. She makes that division.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it feels like the women's division's been kind of gutted in recent times here. I'm having trouble even trying to figure out who else we've got. You have like those Robert Stone girls, I think, or are they even a thing anymore?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I can name the 4 women who got involved with this match basically. I thought this was really good. Gonzalez is she's all right. I did like I liked her interference. I liked what it led to, because I think they have an opportunity to build this Gonzalez and Rhea, face off into something that could be interesting to see.
Yeah, if Gonzalez can work, and if Rhea picks up the pace and really leads a good match, I think there's a good big girls match for the two of them. But they got to put the work in. Like they need to be at the Performance Center working on this match, making it smooth. Raquel's got to get up for her. If she's just gonna, if she's gonna be like awkward, and like Frankenstein, it's gonna be a shit match.
For sure, because I don't know that because I mean she uses that tower bomb thing, that like pump handle tower bomb. Mm-hmm. I don't know how smoothly she'd be able to do that to someone the size of Rhea as compared to Io.
If they're gonna do it, they need to practice.
They damn sure do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, and lastly, we had Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee for the NXT Championship. This was Keith Lee's swan song as he is off to the main roster to be ruined. Ruined, I tell you. Ruined. So, I'm 44 years old. I started watching wrestling probably when I was around between 5 and 7 years old-ish. Mm-hmm. And there was a style of match that used to be worked in the WWE. Sure, there were guys that could go like Randy Savage and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and but for the most part, like if you watch like a Hulk Hogan match, he had a very kind of standard big man formula match, and it was a lot of work and holds. It was a lot of kind of lumbering. Like you made it seem like it was Godzilla. A lot of his matches, it makes it seem like you're watching Godzilla versus King Kong. Mm-hmm. Like the guys are bigger than they really are. And that's what I got out of this match. I don't know if that was purposeful, and I'm not sure if I like it or not.
I don't know that it served either of them.
It was a very slow, plodding, work a hold, big man style Godzilla versus King Kong kind of match. I will tell you that, like Keith Lee, and we've talked about this on other podcasts.
He's your favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan. But from what I've been told, and I think I've mentioned this before, Keith Lee apparently wrestled in PWG and can actually go and can go fast and is like and can be a very dynamic wrestler. And I feel like what they've done to him is say, "Hey, you're Keith Lee, you're big Keith Lee. Bask in your glory. Slow the hell down." So now he lumbers around like King Kong Bundy. And I don't know if that's just his size, like he's gotten fatter since his PWG days, or that's purposeful. I've also seen Killer Kross wrestle in No Holds Barred. Not No Holds Barred. Blood.
Lucha?
No. What's the Van Damme movie? Blood something or other.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. I've seen Killer Cross wrestle in Bloodsport, where he's like Timothy Thatcher. You know, he's the guy that makes wrestling look like wrestling.
Okay.
He's a very MMA style, catch as catch can, move to move to move, chain wrestling kind of guy. And so you take that and you put it up against King Kong Bundy, and I think this is the result. And I'm almost wondering if that's a clash of styles. Like, you needed somebody to bump off Keith Lee, not somebody who's going to grab a hold of a shoulder and twist it for an hour.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Yeah. I think it's so weird because they got Cross as like this, like almost like a cerebral wrestler. You know, he's slow and he's methodical, but instead of looking methodical, he just looks slow.
Yeah.
So the whole thing came across as very plotting. It was like they were wrestling in like molasses. Keith Lee has gained some weight, I think. I saw him during this match, and I was just like, wow, his gut is very, very large. And he's always been a heavy dude, but it just stood out to me as being, especially large. I also watched some of the...
and Leon's getting larger.
He is getting big. He's getting swollen. But I was watching... They put up a slew of Evolve matches on the network. I guess they own that tape library now, and they did like a Best of Keith Lee thing where you can watch him fight Dominic Dijakovic 600 times. And he looked a lot leaner. And this isn't too terribly long ago, like 2 or 3 years, but he looks a lot flabbier now. And I like you said, I think this was a clash of styles. I think it was two guys trying to work too similar a style to where it just didn't work. It was like trying to put two of the same puzzle pieces together, and it just doesn't work that way. What's his face? Cross. I don't know that. It just feels way too soon. and the way that they did it, the last NXT takeover was him absolutely destroying Tommaso Ciampa.
Right.
And here we have him doing like barely a 50-50 match with Keith Lee.
Yeah, you know what this felt like? Hulk Hogan versus Big John Studd.
Okay.
It just like two slow, methodical, big dudes not
slapping ham.
Yep. Yeah, slapping ham, twisting an arm, giving a little tickle.
Yeah,
that's it.
Just didn't. And I think, especially with the statement they made with against Ciampa last time, this felt way too long. It didn't make Cross look strong to beat Keith Lee. It looked like he eked out a win. And he had to go to he had to do like the super cytoplex to do it. It just didn't feel decisive.
Have you been keeping up with the news? Because I heard Cross got injured. I've heard two things.
Yeah, I heard that.
I've heard Cross got injured and he's out forever. And I've heard Cross got injured, he's not going to miss any time.
I heard both as well. Yeah, I heard that he's done, and I also heard that this won't affect any future matches.
Okay then, terrific.
Which is our pro res media at its best.
Super. I guess we'll find out. All right. In any case, overall, I would give this an A-. I think this was a solid night of wrestling. When my biggest complaint is that your main event match was Hulk Hogan versus Big John Studd, I'm not gonna shit too much on NXT. You know, I wanted a solid night of wrestling. And here's the thing. You know, when we talked about this, when we talked about like the greatest wrestling match ever with Edge and Randy Orton, there's so much wrestling now. There's been so much wrestling since we were kids. I just can't have this giant expectation that every match is going to be, you know, a 5-star classic. If it's if it's solid, if everyone does their job, everyone hits their mark, and there isn't anything too stupid on there that makes me want to turn the television off, I'm going to go ahead and give that something in the A region.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like, and this is going to continue on to the next show we discuss, I feel like everybody really had like this weird fire lit in their belly. They were really trying. Where we've had this strange, well, not strange, I mean, it's understandable, this whole COVID era so far, everybody's kind of been on autopilot. It feels like nobody's really getting all that amped to work because they're not working in front of anybody but their peers if they're lucky. Where this weekend it felt like there was a little bit of a pivot, and everybody was back to really trying to give 100%.
But it wasn't
that showed.
But it wasn't a night of Mary Lou Retton gymnastics either.
Also
really
true.
Dating myself.
Also true. I don't know if that's the NXT house style anymore. Because I'm trying to think. I mean, we could get, if Gargano if we get another Gargano Cole series, maybe, I don't know, but it feels like that might not be the the soup of the day right now, which is a good thing. We got to put that aside for a little while.
No, I want to see guys wrestle. I don't want to see guys flying out of the ring left and right.
Yeah.
I also don't want to see spam finishers. I don't want to see 7,000 moves on the on the corner of the ring apron. Where is the hardest? And people try to give each other concussions.
Yes.
So it's like I can't. So if you take all those things away and you get a solid night of wrestling that looks like wrestling, and one car crash, it's not. I then can be like, oh well, C+. No, A-.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm with you.
This was definitely well above average for what our expectations are usually set at.
So I didn't watch SmackDown. So going into SummerSlam, I didn't know what the Thunderdome was. I heard Jim Cornette talk about it, that it was going to be Brady boxes brought to you by Zoom. And that first of all, I like the idea of creating a bubble, a residency at the Amway Center in Orlando. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good idea. I think getting out of the Performance Center is the best thing they could have done.
It's vital. Yeah.
Yeah. No more wrestling in gyms.
Mm-hmm.
When you're used to wrestling in arenas. So, I wanted to hate the Thunderdome because I really. Did I tell you, like, the one night I woke up and my wife and I put the TV on to go to sleep so that there's noise.
Sure.
It's not something I used to do, but I've got over 10 years of marriage, and that's the only way she can go to sleep. I've just had to get used to it. So now
I've done it my whole life.
Yeah, I can't go to sleep without it. And normally we'll put on Hulu and we'll put Family Guy on, but occasionally she'll just leave on whatever channel she's watching.
Sure.
And she tends to watch a lot of syndicated television, whether it's Family Guy or The Big Bang Theory or Friends or something. Mm-hmm. So, long story short, she had on whatever was on TBS, and I went to sleep with whatever that was. It was probably Family Guy. And I woke up to go to the bathroom, and Conan O'Brien was on. And Conan O'Brien was doing Brady Boxes brought to you by Zoom. So he's in a Zoom box, and he's talking to somebody else in a Zoom box, and I'm like, I hate this. I probably would have left Conan, like regular Conan O'Brien on. I'm not a big talk show fan, and I'm certainly not the biggest fan of Conan O'Brien, but I don't hate him either. I'm just kind of nonplussed by him. But I hate Zoom boxes.
Okay,
I just I don't, when we do these podcasts, we don't see each other. I don't even have the Skype box up. I'm looking at a wiki page for the SummerSlam. And I've done it with people before, but some people's sound is always off. Some people are like yelling into their mic. Some people don't know how to be away from. Some people feel like they have to be on top of their fucking television, their computer screen, in order to be heard. It's like, you don't though. Back the fuck up. They had Booker T on one recently. They had Booker T on one recently, and I swear to God, I was like, yeah, I can see up your nose, sir. Yeah.
And he's got that stylish mustache now too. He's using the mustache wax. That's very bizarre looking.
Super. So my point is, I really wanted to hate the concept of the Thunderdome, where they're surrounded by Zoom boxes of fans.
Sure.
I have to say, despite my predilection to hate it, I didn't hate it.
It works.
Yeah, there's some fun ones in there. There was this one middle-aged woman who, I don't know if she was like doing a study of some sort or what, but I was like, why are you here?
Now I think this. My wife saw it. She came walking in when I was watching it, and she goes, and she looked, and she goes, "That's so sad." And I'm like, "What's so sad about it?" She's like, "This makes it feel permanent." And I'm like, you're right. It does make this feel like this doesn't feel like a temporary thing anymore. Now that we're actually investing all of this technology and time and money into just reconfiguring the whole presentation.
Well, I don't think it's going to be permanent.
I don't think so either.
But when they're talking about large crowds, we're talking about large crowds not coming back till next summer. Mm-hmm. We're in August.
Yeah,
we have such a long time.
Yeah,
and they have to do something because being in the Performance Center sucks.
Is death. Yeah, that is not fun television. I would often say that, like, when you'll ask if I watch Raw or SmackDown, I'd be like, well, I'll have it on in the background or I'll fast forward through it. For the past few weeks, I haven't even done that because it just feels like, I mean, the product, no matter what brand we're looking at, is stale, but it just exacerbates the staleness to see the same, 5 enhanced PC people, with masks on in the crowd, cheering when they're supposed to cheer and booing when they're supposed to boo.
Look, first of all, my problem with the WWE is that it's really like dumbed down. Mm-hmm. So whatever they do on Raw, they'll do endless replays the following week.
Oh yeah, and then the same week. Yeah,
and then you get to the show and you'll see endless replays of that. Not to mention the fact that if you really want to see something, if Raw Underground was appealing to you, they'll have clips of it on YouTube. I don't want to watch the show anymore.
Yeah.
We're long past the days of them doing anything interesting, like Austin driving a beer truck into the ring, or
and nobody's flipping to TNT to see what's on Nitro,
right?
So it's totally different time. It's just not adapting with the times. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the show at all. No. And here's the thing: anything I need to know, and that was and I wrote this on Twitter, and I got some feedback from it. Everything I need to know about this show, I'll find out during the kickoff. And
sure.
And if I'm home, if I'm not working, I'll watch the kickoff show, or at least I'll have it on in the background, and they play all the replays. I was caught up on every single storyline by watching the kickoff show. So.
And they'll replay things 2 or 3 times during the kickoff show. So yeah, I mean, it's overkill even in that 1 hour span.
The Mandy Rose Sonya Deville package 3-4 times.
Yeah, that's because they changed it. They had to change the stipulation. Yeah, right. I'm guessing you're aware of that, right?
Yeah. Well, we have the guy in our jail.
Okay.
I was well aware of that one. I actually know somebody who's investigating the case.
Damn.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk too much about that, but yeah. So I just all in all, I think the Thunderdome works. I love the Thunderdome itself is fine. I love the idea that they took up residency in the Amway Center because it's not like the Magic we're using it. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So that said, we opened with Apollo Crews versus MVP, and it bothers me that MVP is on television and not Bobby Lashley. Like, you have this Hulk of a man, this guy who's made to be carrying championships and being in main events, and he was an escort to MVP, who is older than dirt.
And he was stung by all the bees.
Yeah,
he was looking puffy again. But I feel like he's been really carrying so much of Raw. The Raw that I have watched, MVP has been carrying that show. It's he deserves a raise, even though he's kind of a waste. The thing of it is we find out that we have a pay-per-view next week as well. So a lot of things, I guess. That's going to be kind of like SummerSlam Night 2, in a way.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're going to get our Lashley match.
I hope so.
Yeah, here it was just maybe they didn't want to put Lashley on the pre-show. I don't know, but a decent little match. I'm an MVP mark. I was hoping he was going to win, and he did not.
Yeah, Apollo Crews is fine. He's a great athlete.
Mm-hmm.
he has nothing else going on about him. He has no gimmick. He can't talk.
No. If he loses the belt, he goes right back to the. Do they still do main event or Velocity?
I liked him with Titus O'Neil. They make these pairings, and it's like, oh, okay, Titus O'Neil didn't really work out as a wrestler, but I think he's a good mouthpiece for Apollo Crews. I think he can talk, and then they just lose interest and break them up.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Yeah, I don't even know if they actually broke them up. They just stopped coming out together. Yeah.
The stars of your show: Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Asuka. We had our first double dose of Asuka versus the champs. This time it was Bayley, and they're slowly telling the story about how Bayley, Sasha Banks puts her ass on the line for Bayley to keep that belt around her. Bayley does not ever return the favor, and then Bayley looks and Bayley looks like, I'm sorry. What was I supposed to do? Whenever shit happens to Sasha Banks, but this first match here, Bayley versus Asuka, was great. I can't say enough good things about Bayley, and and Asuka certainly rarely puts on a poor performance. So yeah, Bayley versus Asuka was the shit. It was one of the highlights of SummerSlam. And they did the angle at the end where Sasha took a butt bomb off the apron, but that let Bayley get the advantage, and she won the match. Just great, good way to kick off the show.
A wonderful match. This story is so good. It's very. I mean, I can't say it's subtle, but it's WWE subtle. The way they're doing it, which is to say not subtle at all, but compared to everything else on the show, very, very cerebral. I just think they're doing just such a good job with this, and I think Asuka was kind of like the perfect linchpin for both matches, because you get into that weird thing where it's like, anything you can do, I can do, and it's turning out that maybe one can't or maybe one won't. So it's really well done. Really good match. Didn't even mind that Asuka didn't win, even though I was hoping she would, but because it was just so well done.
Next up was the Street Profits in a rather short match with Andrade and Angel Garza.
What was the point of this one?
I just have a match, have the Street. They like the Street Profits. Apparently, the Street Profits are
they get their own solo cup pyro.
Yeah. I mean, somebody backstage apparently sees the value in the Street Profits and wants to keep them on television, and they do. They're not putting on their NXT matches, but that's the thing about being on the main roster is you don't get to do NXT stuff, and I know I've said that before. Mm-hmm. So they did a match. It was less than 10 minutes. It was about 7 minutes 50 seconds, and it was solid. I can't say more than that. It was.
Yeah, I didn't feel it.
It was serviceable.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. For a match that was predicated on one of the Street Profits being poisoned.
Yeah,
there was no heat. There was no heat.
No, it was just a match.
Just a match.
Just a match with four guys that the brass think should be on TV more than everybody else. Period.
And I was a huge booster of Angel Garza early on, but it's like, dude, not enough.
I do like his pants gimmick.
His pants gimmick's good. I was wishing that he would start kissing some of the screens at the Thunderdome, since that was like kind of his thing, and he did adapt it really well when they went to the plexiglass, where like he'd like put his cheek up against the plexiglass, and one of the enhancements would kiss the plexiglass. but yeah, and he didn't do it on the screen, which is unfortunate.
No. I have to say also, like at one point Bayley was kicking at the screens, which I thought was great. See, when you're taught like robots to interact with the crowd, and then there's no crowd, but you keep interacting with the nobody, I see the value in the Zoom screens.
Sure. Yeah, that was rough the first few weeks in the PC with no crowd at all, where they were interacting with air.
Right, yeah, and then the robots couldn't break free of their programming.
They couldn't veer off course. Yeah.
But now they have a crowd there to interact with, and so you have Bayley like kicking at the screens, and you have like they're interacting with the Zoom crowd, so that's fine. That's what they do. All right,
Here's a question about the Zoom crowd here.
Yes.
How much longer do you think we're going to get a live Zoom crowd and not just loops of video? Because
I don't know.
last night on Raw, we had Chris Benoit sightings. We had
Really?
Yes, there was Chris Benoit on the screens. There was KKK people on the screens, and there was an ISIS beheading on one of the screens. So these dipshits, are they going to ruin it for everybody else? And all of a sudden, we're just going to get these like loops of people cheering?
Yeah. And people, I mean, Jim Cornette read a long list of things that will get you banned, like, period. But, you know, the collective mischief of the rest of the universe versus the WWE policing, I'm betting on the collective mischief of the rest of the universe. That's really funny, actually.
We're going to get like 2 more weeks of this, and then it'll just be the same 50 fans looped over and over again, just so we don't have Chris Benoit popping up on the screen.
That's hilarious. I'm you know, as a punk rocker, I am I applaud mischief like that. All right, one of our big stories going into SummerSlam, I mean that's been going on for months now, is Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. The big story here was basically that Sonya Deville didn't... It almost like they were doing a gay angle with Sonya and Mandy, where Mandy started hanging out with Otis.
They were very half pregnant with that for like the past 6-7 months, yeah.
It was like Sonya was like, "Oh, you don't want to be with Big Fat Otis," and she was like, "I do." And so she tried to sabotage them, and that didn't work out, and then the whole thing just blew up, and it became about Mandy.
Remember the hacker showed up?
Yeah. It boiled down to Sonya Deville said Mandy's a shitty person. And Mandy Rose is like, the same person I've been the entire time we've been friends. I don't know where this is coming from. Tale as old as time. Yeah. So they were going to do a hair versus hair match, but then some guy was going to forcibly convert Sonya Deville to being straight and tried to break into her house. And so Sonya Deville's like, nope, I'm out for a while. I'm going to go elsewhere and not think about wrestling and creepy people and being forced straight. Mm-hmm. So they changed it to a loser leaves town match. Jim Cornette had a lot to say about that. He was like, why couldn't they just do the hair versus hair and then she just go off TV? Why did it have to be a loser leaves town match?
I heard that her lawyer said that she shouldn't be making court appearances bald. Okay. That's the hot take that's going around online, because I guess she's got a lot of court ahead of her, and her lawyer suggested that she not be hairless for it.
She's the fucking victim. Whatever.
I don't agree either, but I mean it is what it is.
Okay. Well, far be it from me to disagree with her lawyer.
Sure.
So anyway. They had a 10-minute and 5-second match. It was a no disqualification, and they barely utilized the no disqualification qualifier. It was. I mean,
it wasn't very good.
They got brought up too soon, and they both need to be led. And in the ring with each other, it was awkward and clunky.
Oh, and I mean the biggest part of this match, I mean the biggest feud in this match was Mandy Rose against that table she was trying to flip up. Jesus Christ. It took her like 15 tries.
Yeah, it was not great.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the stinker of the night. Next up, Seth Rollins, a street fight with Dominic Mysterio. Remember when street fights, you'd come in just like street clothes because it's a street fight? Yeah. Remember those days? You can come in your gear.
Dominic left his hood on, so that's good.
Yeah, I don't know how he wasn't dragged around the ring by that.
Oh God, that was just so awkward looking.
Yeah, I don't.
Every time he'd flip his head up, a hood would flop over his dome.
I don't understand how anyone let him go out that way, or tell him take off his stupid vest and hoodie. Or just take off the hood.
Just the hood, yeah, because I think he's a little doughy, so they don't want to show his belly.
But this was high. This was Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dominic, ladder match, high drama. Mm-hmm. And, I thought they did a good job with this. I thought Dominic did his part. He's in there with a veteran. Here's my only problem with this. Seth Rollins was an NXT champion. He was in the Shield. He was a Universal champion. Seth Rollins has been to the pay window
He's a made man, yeah.
Yeah. And he's been in there with the best of the best. He's beaten Brock Lesnar. Why did it take almost 23 minutes for Seth Rollins to defeat a guy making his debut?
It's a good point. It's a very good point. I don't think we're supposed to think about that, but I thought Dominic did much better than he had any right to. Still wasn't, it wasn't a 5-star classic by any means. I did appreciate Seth's gear.
Sure.
Calling back to Ray and Eddie at Halloween Havoc. I thought that was pretty cool. But you're right, and now that's all I can see is like this really shouldn't have taken quite as long, and not been as, because this wasn't a very decisive victory either.
No, this needed to lose 10 minutes.
Easy. How long did it go? Did you say?
22 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, that's a long match, especially for a kid starting out and for a guy who's been made for almost a decade now, right, to put down the kid who's just making his start.
If you can beat Brock Lesnar within minutes, you shouldn't take 22 minutes with Dominic Mysterio.
No, in his hood. Especially when you have Murphy at ringside as well. So you got an extra guy out there. I thought it told a decent story. Like you're saying here, I think this should have been more Seth toying with Dominic, where it didn't come across that way. It felt like there was heat, which I don't think it should have been. I think it should have been Seth toying with Dominic, and any offense that Dominic gets should be, kind of Seth getting hoisted by his own petard or whatever.
Right. Like maybe Seth goes for something high risk, and Dominic moves out of the way, and now Seth's hurt, and Dominic can do a few different things.
He can take advantage for a few minutes. Yeah.
Right. Like basically, this should have been a lot of Dominic getting hope spots and getting cut off.
100%, and it was not that. No. It was much better than it had any right to be. But yes, I can totally see your points here. This went too long, and it was too 50-50 for a brand new guy and a veteran.
All right, and then we had our second Asuka Bayley Sasha meeting. This time it was Asuka versus Sasha Banks, and they did the same spot at the end. This time Bayley ducked it, and then she hit Asuka with an elbow, but Asuka ended up winning the match anyway. And it was a good match and everything. I don't have any problems with it. Sasha didn't fuck anything up too badly like she normally does. She is dainty and she is klutzy, that one. She gets by on her body and her looks. But
and her cousin.
Yeah. But so they're trying to say because Bayley didn't take the bump off of Asuka, that she didn't put herself on the line for Sasha the way that Sasha did for her, except that she elbowed Asuka in the head, and Asuka was like out of it for a few minutes. Yeah,
well, it's not a 1-to-1 comparison like I think they thought it was going to be. Like if she would have just dodged it, that's one thing. But no, she was, she did dodge it and then she swung. So I mean, she actually did more than Sasha did for her.
Right.
Sasha just took the bump. So, if anything, it looks like Bayley went a little bit further to help her friend than Sasha did. Right. Sasha just came across as a klutz who took a bump.
And I guess because she didn't get herself,
hurt? It's weird.
The only other thing I can think of is maybe in character, Sasha thought, well, when you saw I was in trouble, why didn't you just hit her with the belt?
And why didn't you just get me DQ'd?
Right. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know, but I do want to call out that one weird sunset flip bomb Sasha did to Asuka. Holy shit!
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
Oh boy, that was good, and it had a nice slap. She hit the mats. Oh man, that was some crisp stuff. I don't think I've ever seen Sasha hit something that flawlessly in her entire career. Good match, not as good as the Bayley match, and the ending did leave a little bit to be desired. It gets the story moving where they feel it needs to, which I think is going to hit a fever pitch after this Sunday. But it was serviceable.
Or Survivor Series.
Because I know they have a women's tag match at Payback. Mm-hmm. So and they're facing off against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Those are their opponents. So
we'll see. This has already been a slow boil.
Yeah, for sure.
Drew McIntyre defeated Randy Orton in 20 minutes and 35 seconds. A little long. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton had a good match. Look, I'm not a fan of either guy, so it's hard for me to get like really invested. But both guys tend to not have bad matches. Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and say this was a solid match. Solid
is the new fine.
Yep.
It's like if you have a bowl of vanilla ice cream and you put vanilla sprinkles on it. That's kind of this match, and I like Drew. I like Drew. I like Randy in a lot of cases. This just felt like two creator wrestlers fighting.
Yeah,
this was just like, you boil down the concept of professional wrestler to its component parts, and then you grow it in a test tube, and you get these two guys. And it's like, oh well, we'll put them against each other. Why not?
If you ever see like the nondescript NES wrestling games. This was Wrestler A versus Wrestler B.
Yeah. the new superstar.
Right.
It felt very much like that. I'm glad they avoided the finisher spam.
Yeah.
Which seemed to be something. Maybe there was a memo that was put out on Friday night. It's like, hey, we're not doing finisher spam this weekend, because I was expecting 5 RKOs and like 12 Claymores. I don't know that we got one of either.
I was going to say, like, I was waiting for the Claymore kick a couple of times, and we never got it, which was a nice change of pace.
Mm-hmm. And I thought the ending was great until this was a Raw match, so I guess it was Tom Phillips who yelled out the damn tagline of the show, because he won with a backslide, which I don't think anyone's won a match with a backslide since Kerry Von Erich won the NWA title 150 years ago.
Nice callback.
Yes, but as soon as he does it, Tom Phillips is like, "You'll never see it coming." It's like, dude, calm the fuck down. That was the tagline of the show. You don't need to do that right now.
Someone hit him with a Xanax mist.
I thought that was just way too just overselling it made it feel fake, which you don't want to do. I get the irony of him winning with a move you'd never see coming, but to call it out like before the 3 is even counted, dude, calm down.
I listened to Jim Cornette and Brian Last talk about this show.
Mm-hmm.
They just talk about wrestling, and it's like it's just made. It's like they talk down to you. They write for 3-year-olds.
It's the hospital food of entertainment.
Yeah,
it has to get everybody. It's tasteless. It's bland, but you'll still eat it.
And had this been the end of the show, I actually would have,
This was the end of the show.
There was 8 matches total if you count the pre-show match, and Apollo Crews MVP, fine. Bayley, Asuka, good. Street Profits, tag match, fine. Mandy Rose, that was a stinker. Seth Rollins, good. Asuka, Sasha Banks, good. Drew McIntyre, fine. Okay, so this was a B+ level show. And with the atmosphere, I'm actually willing to grade it on a curve and say A- once again.
Sure.
But then this fucking shit happened.
Dun, dun, dun.
And this one fucking tanks the show.
Bald Snowman, yes.
The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman. In a false count anywhere match where they went to the gorilla position, fought for a little bit, and then came back and then fought in the ring again. Like, don't do that stipulation then if you're not going to use it. Just put them in a fucking cage.
Yeah, or do a no holds barred match or something. It doesn't have to be falls count anywhere if they're not going to leave ringside up, but for 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm over both these fucking guys. I'm over this feud. I just needed to go away, and it looks like it is because now Roman Reigns is back.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up as soon as the Fiend won the title back. Roman Reigns jumped in. I honestly thought like he was leading Retribution for a moment. First of all, let me tell you how this ended for me. So, if people who are longtime listeners to the show know that I'm going through chemo and immunotherapy for my cancer, and I'm on treatment number 4, and I'm very tired, and so I don't like to stay up late. As people who work with me know, like we got to get in and get out. I don't want to be up all night doing podcasts. So I'm watching this show, and this is now past the point where I want to be asleep, and I'm just like moaning. I'm like, God, I don't want to watch this anymore. I just, that's why I was deathly afraid this was going to be like an 11 o'clock ending, you know. I guess I can't take it anymore. I got to get to sleep. And I didn't care who won. And so the Fiend finally beats Braun Strowman, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I immediately threw my CPAP on and hit, and just left the TV on. I didn't even turn it off, or turn it to his Family Guy or anything. I was like, fuck it, whatever's on's on. I don't even give a shit anymore. I threw my CPAP on, and immediately my head hit the pillow. And as I'm putting my CPAP on, I see some guy all in black with short hair run into the ring, and I'm like, is that the leader of Retribution? Who is that? Mm-hmm. And then the announcer's like, it's Roman Reigns. And I'm like, good night.
This whole feud has been absolute garbage.
Yeah.
What was even the point? I mean, we had the one match.
The point was
where
we were in the middle of COVID.
That's about it. This is the Band-Aid feud here. But it's like, at least try something here. This is the third match, the third straight pay-per-view match with these two. The first one we had the Mr. Rogers thing where the puppet showed up in the crowd. Then we had the stupid swamp fight where I think both of them were eaten by alligators. And then we have this one where and somewhere along the way Braun lost his hair. I don't know what happened there. But
he shaved it to become evil to deal with the Fiend.
Oh, okay. Was that actually part of the story, or is that just your headcanon?
A little from column A, a little from column B.
We'll go with it. This match, for such a heady sort of a feud, there was zero psychology. Braun Strowman, we end the match with Braun Strowman going out and getting a box cutter. And I thought what he was going to do was he was going to go in, and I thought he was going to cut the mask off the Fiend. And I'm like, okay, maybe we're going to squash the Fiend now. Maybe we're done with this gimmick. And frankly, I loved the Fiend when he was introduced. I've been on record as saying that I think it's run its course. I think it's time to move on to whatever is in Bray Wyatt's head after this. I was like, okay, cool. We're going to cut the mask off. We'll see that it's just a man underneath it. We'll kill the monster. Instead, he starts carving up the ring, the mat. What was his end goal?
His end goal was to plant the Fiend on the wood.
But he's impervious to pain.
I have an even better one for you.
Seth Rollins dropped him from a plane.
These guys wrestle on concrete, then they ram each other into steel stairs. But apparently the wood in the ring is the hardest substance known. It's fucking adamantium.
Adamantium, yep. I mean, they were beating each other about the head and shoulders with a toolbox 5 seconds ago, and now he's gonna hit him with a power. It's so dumb. So dumb.
I for real thought he was going to stab him. And I was like, how are they going to pull this off? No, then he just started. I think they saw like Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano do it on NXT, and we're like, oh, okay. So, and then like Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega did the same thing where they, with like that. Basically, no matter, you can hit a guy with a shotgun and shoot his fucking face off, and he'll kick out. But if his head hits the wood in a wrestling ring, you die.
You're taking 6 months off.
Yeah,
but I don't even remember what was even the finish. Did he hit the Sister Abigail's kiss or whatever? What was the finish?
Sure.
I don't even remember. All I can remember is that Braun was carving up the ring like an idiot. And then Bray was holding the belt. I don't remember what happened after that.
All right. The Fiend countered an attack from Strowman and performed a urinage and 2 consecutive Sister Abigails on Strowman onto the exposed wood to regain the title for a second time. There you go. There
we go. So he hit him with a couple of rock bottoms and then the Abigail thing. Okay. Well, there you go. But then Roman Reigns and his teeth came out.
Yep.
Yeah.
His
new chompers. Which is good. I did like Randy Orton's little. Didn't he tweet out a picture of like the dog from Family Guy with like giant teeth? I was like, oh, it's nice to see Roman Reigns back.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I was in CPAP land. So, all right. Overall, this gets I'm going to give this a solid B. I might have the whole show, the presentation, and everything. There's more good about the show than there was bad, so I don't want to go lower than that.
For sure.
This was between the 2 nights. It was a solid night of wrestling. It was like I said, for the most part, between NXT and SummerSlam, I got solid wrestling that looked like wrestling.
Sure.
The stupid shit was minimized to where I didn't find myself hating myself for being a wrestling fan. I actually got asked that by somebody who I work with. I like to tease one of the girls I work with and talk to her about racist wrestling. So I talked about Kamala. I talked about Akeem the African Dream. That's what started it. Mm-hmm. I was showing her how the one man gang became Akeem the African Dream. She's African American, by the way. Okay. And I said, hey, I don't want to make it seem like I'm just picking on black people. There's racist wrestling everywhere. I told her about Muhammad Hassan.
Yep.
I told
Colonel De Beers.
I told her about Colonel Parker walking the Harlem Heat out to the ring in chains.
Yes.
So yeah, she was done with me after a while. But then the other coworker that was sitting in the room, who was just not listening but not really listening, kind of turns to me. She's like, you're a really bright guy. Why do you watch this? And when I have to ask myself that question, that's not a good night of wrestling.
No.
I'll give you the final word, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, I think this entire weekend, I think, is like a B level of professional wrestling here, which is more than we've gotten from WWE or NXT for quite a while. Thought this was definitely something that I look back on and I don't regret spending the time watching. I even watched Raw, a little bit of it, the next day, which I wasn't doing the past few weeks. I was happy to see Roman Reigns back because the SmackDown main event has just been an absolute joke. I guess we're getting a triple threat next week between The Fiend, Strowman, and Reigns for the belt. So maybe they'll put the belt on him immediately. Which, I mean, that might just be a lesser of three evils at that point. I would have preferred seeing like Big E come out and do something, but that's not going to happen yet. What else? I think that's about it. We for some reason have a pay-per-view next week. I don't know what the planning is. When I first heard that there was a pay-per-view on the docket, I assumed it was just going to be like the next Evolution pay-per-view. Just a women's only pay-per-view again. But it looks like it's just going to be another show.
All right, and we'll cover it for you. Right now, it's Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Shayna and Nia Jax for the tag team titles. Apollo Crews versus Bobby Lashley. There you go. Mm-hmm. Yep, a triple threat, like you said. And then Keith Lee versus Randy Orton. Hey, I heard they already ruined Keith Lee. Is that true?
They changed his music, which I guess people were mad about. And he had a match with Randy Orton, but Drew ran in on it. So I think it's too soon to tell. And I mean, his last few matches in NXT weren't all that great either. So I don't know. I don't know if this is knee jerk from people who want to knee jerk about NXT guys going bad, or if this is just a sign of things to come.
All right. Well, like I said, we'll go ahead next week and review that for you. We got a lot of shows next week to deal with. We've got Damn You Hollywoods for New Mutants and Bill and Ted Face the Music. We've got a Bill and Ted Save the Universe source material. We've got Demon Bear source material. And we'll have a Long Road to Ruin for the first two Bill and Ted movies. You can check those out. We just did a Damn You Hollywood for the one and only Ivan. And tomorrow we'll have a Metal Hammer of Doom for Unleash the Archers. Chris, go ahead and plug your stuff.
Chris is on InfiniteEarths.com, chrisandreggie.podbean.com, on Ace Comics on Twitter as Ace Comics. There I am. I can get that right eventually. Talking about comics everywhere, writing, reading, talking, all that good stuff. So if you're interested in comics and you kind of like my voice, you can check me out at all those places.
I listened to your Omega the Cat one today.
Oh, Omaha the Cat Dancer?
Omaha the Cat Dancer, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Was it as uncomfortable to listen to as it was to record?
No, I enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
I'm going to listen to Cherry Pop Tart next.
That one was uncomfortable, yeah.
Terrific. Sounds great. I love uncomfortable podcasts.
If you ever imagined what the hosts of the Cosmic Treadmill might sound like if they engaged in some naughty behaviors, well, listen to that episode.
Well, that is a fine sales pitch. All right, folks, thanks for checking us out here on TV Party Tonight. For Chris on Infinite Earths, be well, be safe, and behave.